couple more workshops, Stan. I heard you talking about the other tools that Google has, like Docs, Slides, Sheets is what they call it. They're basically Google's versions of Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. This is actually a Google slide presentation here, but I'm going to do other workshops on those because today it's just going to be all about Drive, and then these other workshops will get into a little bit more of the nitty-gritty with Docs and Sheets and all the other things because there's a little bit more to cover in there. I don't think we can get to it all in these shorter workshops. So Google Drive, let's start with what it is. Aside from your new best friend, it's really just a place to store files. So when you think about it, don't get too wrapped up in trying to figure out all the, what is this? It's just another place to store your files. That's it. It's pretty straightforward. It supports all of the types of files you can think of, just like you could save a file to your computer. It doesn't have to be a doc or a sheet. You could create, for example, an Adobe Photoshop file. You can't look at it in Drive. You can download it from Drive, and you can save it in Drive. So it supports everything, just like a floppy disk or a CD-ROM. It's just a different version of that. Of course, it's also your new best friend. The best thing, though, that we really love about it is unlimited in terms of how much stuff you can store. So I don't know if you guys use your O Drive a lot. If you do, you'll know that you run out of space occasionally, and you have to come to us and say, can you give us a little more space? And we can kind of free up more space as we need to. Google has given us just a crazy amount of storage space. There is a limit, but consider it unlimited because it's so much space that we could honestly never fill it up with the number of students and faculty we have here. I store video files in there, they're huge. I store image files, so really great for all those big files that you want to access whenever you want.
How is it for security though, versus us doing stuff on our internal drives?
If
like
you
the
are,
Campus Live drive?
yeah, if you've got stuff that you're saving that's very sensitive, social security numbers, things like that, I would hesitate to put them anywhere except for an internal drive, just for good practice when it comes to protecting student data. It is secure though. I really don't worry too much about Google getting hacked. I don't know the last time I've heard a story about any of their data centers getting hacked. But I think for just peace of mind, if you're going to be storing really sensitive stuff like that, it's probably best to still keep it on your O Drive or the Ed Drive, wherever you store that stuff. But all your other day-to-day things, this is really a great place to put it, not just because it's unlimited, but because of that off-campus access. You can get to it anywhere. So unlike your O Drive, where we have to give you this virtual private network and set up this crazy VPN for you to get to it, this is available anywhere. As long as you have the internet, you can get the drive. You just sign in like you'd sign into anything else. So some really big advantages to that kind of access. Again, it's accessible on your mobile device. It's not just on your desktop. So download the app, and you can get it on your phone. Really straightforward.
Whether it's Google Drive icon.
There's a Google Drive app. Yeah. Once you get it, it looks just like this. But you search the App Store for Google Drive, and you can find it. iOS or Android, it doesn't really matter. You can get it and get to all your stuff. So once you log in, all your folders from school, from work are there. That's pretty cool. So what else? I love it because you can share. Like really, really easy sharing. You're sharing and you're controlling who has access, and you're also sharing it via links. So have you guys ever had to open an attachment, but then found out you couldn't open the attachment because you didn't have the right tool, or they didn't attach the right document, or something, attachments can be a little bit wonky. So these links, again, if you have the internet, you can get access to those links. The other neat thing is that link is only going to be opened by the people you want to open it. So you can control the access to who gets it. You can make it private, only available to the people you specifically share it with. You can make it open to anybody who has the link. You can really dial it into anything in between. So keep that in mind when you're putting information on there. It is secure, and then you have the ability to unsecure it and share it with people.
So the default is it's only you.
The default is it is you until you make it available for people to get access. So Once you share it, you'll want to come in there and adjust the settings so that you can make it accessible to the people you want to make it accessible to.
Is this per file or?
This can be per file or per folder. You can
Okay.
share folders the same way you can share files. I just shared a folder with Betsy earlier today that had about 10 different logos. So rather than trying to attach 10 different logos, I got a link for the one file, sent it to Betsy, she can now access all those logos.
And you can share, or I never have, I mean, you can, files like Microsoft files
Uh-huh.
easily, oh, okay, seems like these are easier to share.
Well, you can share, I'm sorry, I was confused. When you put them in Drive, you can share them.
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
can't put them, I mean, like I'll send, it's easier this way. Okay.
Yeah, I think
And
this
you
is.
can unshare too anytime.
You can make
Through
something
the
private
element.
again. So if
Yeah.
you decide you don't want to give people access to something anymore, you can make it private. Another great thing is if you have an update, I do this a lot with these presentations. Sometimes I'll go in and I share these after I'm done with these kinds of workshops. Sometimes I'll find I made a spelling error or some other kind of mistake I want to fix. I can go ahead and, if I'm doing it in slides, I just update it and automatically updates. If I've done it in PowerPoint, I can update my PowerPoint and then upload a new version of that without ever having to change the link so that people still have access. I don't have to tell them that it's new, just know that when they click on it, they're going to get the new version. So it's kind of a nice way to manage all this stuff when it comes to sharing and giving people access to all the forms and documents and sheets that you're sending out.
So if you had that in 5 different places, you just correct it once and every
Yeah, if you've
else
given
gets
out that link
corrected.
to 20 people, if you update that one file, next time somebody clicks on that link, it's going to update it for all those people. Now, if they downloaded it, they would have the original file, but if they're clicking on the link to get to it, they're going to get the new one. So it's pretty nice, and the collaborative nature of it, we'll talk more about that when we get into the docs and the sheets, because that's really where you start to collaborate on actually building up content together. But just know that it's very collaborative because you can share links and provide editing access to things like your docs and your sheets. You can actually allow other people to contribute. So that's pretty cool. So just kind of mention, you can create content directly in Drive. Again, we're going to get to more of that later on. But it's great because docs, it's pretty powerful. So docs, slides, sheets, forms, we will get to all those moving forward. So you may be asking at this point, how is this even possible? How can we do all this? Because this is pretty cool. You can share, you can control access, you got a limited space, it's available on your phone. It's like magic almost, right? It is the cloud. The cloud is what does it. So we're gonna watch a little quick video because I think this guy does a pretty good job explaining the cloud, and it's sort of one of these concepts that's super confusing if you don't know it. We'll just watch him for a few minutes
Am I
here.
in heaven?
No, my son, you are in the cloud.
The cloud? Wait, you mean like where I store all my pictures and videos?
Yes. You know, not everything needs to go in the cloud. By the way, your password? Way too easy to break.
I don't want to be in the cloud anymore. Back in the day, we used computer hard drives, CDs, and even floppy disks to store our data. Nowadays, however, we have the cloud. Woo! The future! But what is the cloud? Or more importantly, where does all of our stuff go? Cloud storage is essentially a virtual locker where you can remotely stash any of your data. So are all of those cat photos just hanging around up in the sky? Not quite. When you upload a file to a cloud-based service like Google Drive or iCloud, that file gets copied over the internet into a data server. Database servers are actual physical places where companies store your files on multiple hard drives. Most companies will have hundreds of these servers, known as server farms, spanning across multiple locations. So if one happens to get hit by an asteroid, you won't lose your data because it'll be backed up at another location. This is referred to as redundancy, and it keeps your data safe from being lost. Chances are you're already utilizing cloud computing if you use services like Gmail, which connects to Google Drive. Storage on Google Drive starts you at 15 gigabytes for free, but can be increased to as high as 30 terabytes for $300
Because you
a month.
guys are at Brevard.
Services like iCloud,
Unlimited for
Dropbox,
free.
and Microsoft OneDrive offer similar monthly fees for higher storage capabilities. One huge benefit of cloud computing is that you can access data on any internet-capable device. And these days, what isn't connected to the internet, am I right? Also, remember a couple episodes ago when my computer exploded from that secret message I got?
Hello, Armand. This message will self-destruct.
Without the cloud, I would have lost all my files. Luckily, I backed up my hard drive the night before and was able to restore everything. Oh. This is getting really expensive. Of course, not everything is perfect, and there have been some problems with cloud storage in the past. In August 2014, a major iCloud hack led to the leaks of hundreds of private photos from various celebrities. Also, who could forget that terrible Cameron Diaz and Jason Segel movie? Ugh. However, cloud computing can be a great solution for freeing up space on your device, creating a seamless way to access your files, and a pretty good safeguard from the total destruction of your hardware. Hey,
So, anyone have any questions about that? I mean, it's different, but it's essentially the same, right? It's all still backed up. There's still a physical computer with a physical hard drive backing up your information somewhere. So it's not as though you're just putting it out to like this virtual space that doesn't exist, and it really does exist. It's probably, somewhere in the Midwest where land is really cheap. They just started looking at building underwater data centers because the cooling costs are a lot less. They put them in like way up in the mountains overseas. So they're there in all kinds of weird places, and because we have this thing called the internet that connects all of them together, we can get to it really quick. We've got super fast internet here too. So, if you guys need to upload or download anything from the drive, this is definitely the place to do it when you're on campus. We've got fiber optic internet connections, so it is very, very fast.
So, I feel like I have 3 different file cabinets, because I have a Mac, and so
Mhm.
I'm iCloud, and then I'm in Google Drive, and then I have a Dropbox.
Uh-huh.
Should
They are all 3 different versions of the same thing. Yeah.
Should I I guess I just get confused. Should I go just to one? Would you recommend that just start because I'm here,
Yeah.
start everything on Google Docs now? And should I start all my documents on Google Docs? I've had trouble, I've had them in Word, and then I try to put them in Google Docs, and
Mhm.
the formatting changes.
Yeah,
So what would be your
the
recommendations?
thing about, so a couple questions there. Google Drive versus iCloud versus Dropbox, again, they're all
Same.
kinds of, basically 3 of the same services. Google Drive is great because you have a free account with unlimited space through Brevard. So for all your work stuff, I think that's definitely the place to put it. Personally, you can still use Dropbox and iCloud as much as you want, but if you don't like them, I don't love iCloud myself. I think it's a little bit confusing, and Dropbox is great for certain applications, but I've kind of grown accustomed to Drive because it's very user-friendly with the interface, and I like the way they share. It was kind of built on the web, whereas Dropbox was sort of built for this kind of hybrid environment before cloud computing was really popular, so they built it more as a desktop app, and their web interface is a little bit clunky. So it's a matter of personal preference, but I think because of the free storage and all the other benefits you've got with Drive using it on campus, that's where I would go. The other question was regarding the uploading and downloading of Word docs. So if you're uploading a Word doc to Drive, know that it's a Word doc. It's not a Google Doc at that point. It can be converted to a Google Doc, and that is what will happen if you try to open it in Drive to edit it instead of downloading it.
Okay.
So if you download it and then save it and re-upload it, you're going to still be working with the same file in the same format. If you open it and try to start making edits, it's going to turn it into a Google Doc and make a copy. It's going to be a copy of your original Word doc. You'll have the Google Doc there, and you'll be editing a Google Doc at that point. So the formatting will change. However, your original Word doc would still be there somewhere. So, just be aware of the steps you're taking, and if you're going to upload a Word doc, download the Word doc, make your changes, then save it again. And I'll talk about the desktop app here in a second, because that will actually, if you don't have the desktop app for Google Drive, you'll want to get it, and that'll make it so that saving documents to Google Drive is just the same as saving documents to any other file folder. There's no actual uploading involved at that point, which can be the kind of confusing part for people. So let's move on to that. Let's talk about getting started with this. So there's the web browser version. you just go to drive.google.com, or you can log into your mail and get to it from there. So you're either going straight into the web browser, or you're going to your mail and you're clicking on the little squares right there. Okay, that's how we get to it. The other option, of course, is to request the desktop app. That's the one I was just talking about. So this makes it so that you can save to your computer, and there will be a place that you can actually just save to Drive, just like you're saving to My Documents or any other folder. You guys can't download it because you don't have admin privileges on your computer, so all you have to do is put in a ticket, and you won't have to upload anymore. So just put in a help desk ticket. Jason will either do it remotely or somebody will come around and add it to your computer. It doesn't take us long at all. But once you have it, this is kind of what it looks like. You'll see I've got an icon on my desktop. I've got it here in my, Windows Explorer where I can find my files. So it'll start acting just like a regular old filing cabinet. You'll see it show up next to your desktop or next to your documents, wherever you want to put it. And then all these folders I have here are actually in my drive. And it syncs directly with my computer, so everything's kind of synced up. If I save something to Drive, it'll show up in here. If I save something to my computer and I go back to Drive on the web, it'll show up on Drive on the web. This is kind of what they did to make up for the stuff that they were missing from Dropbox. It's essentially, Google Drive's version of Dropbox here. This is their desktop application that they built, whereas Dropbox worked the other way. They went on the desktop first and then kind of built out their web interface.
So when I go to it now, I always just go to it by Gmail, but that's not the same as the desktop.
Not the same as a desktop app. This makes it a more native,
Okay.
experience
It'll
here.
act just like our regular drives if we use it that way.
Yep,
Like
so
it-
you'll see here in the Word doc, if I'm saving this document, I'm doing a save as on the screen here, and I'm just choosing to save it into Google Drive,
Okay.
just like I would save it into everything else. So that's the biggest difference here. That's what confuses most people, is this need to kind of work on the web versus working on their computer. This kind of ties it all together, so you no longer have to choose one or the other. You just get that app, you'll set it up, you log in one time, and you're good to go.
Tell Jason he's gonna have some work.
Yeah, I hope he does. I mean, I think more people need to use this. We have some computer labs that are set up with it, and when a student logs in, it automatically pulls up their drive, so it's tied to login. You don't have to worry about somebody else logging in and seeing all your drive files. It's not going to happen. Okay.
How can and I can just go home and put that on my MacBook.
Yeah, if you on any of your personal computers, you just go to do a Google search for Drive desktop app. It'll show up and you can get it. Getting started on your phone, it's same kind of deal. You're just going to download the app. This is what you're searching for in the App Store. Do note though that the phone app will only let you save files and access files. To create documents, you're still going to have to use a separate app. So it's not for creating new docs or creating new sheets. It's only for accessing and uploading. Okay? So some basics. Just like everything else, keep yourself organized. Get your folders created. If you're starting from scratch, do that first. You can upload entire folders the same way you can upload single files. So if you've already got all your folders organized, you can just upload them right in and go from there. Drag and drop. You can choose to upload whatever you want. The interface is pretty good. Sharing, again, it's all done via the web interface or the mobile app. You can't share from the desktop app. So each has somewhat, their own limitations, but, kind of figuring out the best way to use them all, you're going to get a really good experience here. And you become the master of this. You'll be having all your content at your fingertips wherever you need it. All right, so getting around, let's do a little tour here. This is the web interface, right? You guys should all be pretty familiar. Once you get the desktop app, it's going to function so much like your regular filing system that there shouldn't be much difference there. And if you have issues, I'm here for you, but it's pretty straightforward. So I wanted to focus on this. Creating new folders, uploading new files, creating new content, that's all right there, your new button. Click on that, it's going to give you options to choose what you want to do. So again, the interface is pretty straightforward. Your big red new is going to be where you start for anything new, whether it's new upload, new content, new folder, whatever. All right. A lot of people don't use the search, I've found. I use it a lot because I forget where I put things. And search is really good because it's a Google search, and they have just mastered the search. So it's just like if you're using your Gmail search, you can type out the subject line or the words that are embedded in the document or the email, and you're still going to find it. This will do the same thing. If you've forgotten what you called your doc or your sheet, but you type something that's inside the sheet or the doc, it'll actually search in there, and it might find it for you. So the search is pretty powerful. You click on that little drop down there, and you've got a nice advanced search where you can filter by date and all kinds of other things, search for PDFs versus JPEGs. It's a really powerful search tool, so check it out if you haven't. The other neat thing to remember here is that you've got options on the right to toggle different views. So you can switch between this traditional list view to more of a grid view to get sort of the tile interface. You've got your sorting by alphabetical option there. If you click on this little guy, it'll give you an info pane that'll kind of tell you everything that's been happening in your drive lately. People are sharing things with you. It's sort of an up-to-the-minute, current events of what's happening in your area. When you select one of these files, you'll have more options for sharing. So it'll give you do you want to share the link? Do you want to email to somebody, whatever. But those come up as you click on things. So again, the interface is really intuitive. You select something, it's going to give you the options specifically for what you've selected. If you don't have something selected, you won't see the options, which is, I really like that stuff. I love when they do that. I hate when people put things there that you can't use. So they do a nice job, and they only show you typically what you can use on that view that you're using, which is good. I want to talk about resources. We're actually moving through this pretty quick. So the EdTech page is the best place to start, obviously, because I made it, and why wouldn't it be? If you guys haven't been there yet, I'll keep on plugging it. It is on my Brevard. If you go to the IT page, you'll see it on the left. And then there's lots of different resources that I've built out here. And some of the resources are your Google Drive resources. So I've got a little overview, and I've got some videos. All these videos are really more how-to kind of detailed guides. The getting going is essentially what you guys have gone through today, but if you ever forget, you've got some nice little reminders here about storage and all that fun stuff. So resources are there. Don't forget about them. I'm here too, and that's my dog Frida, but she's not much help, so.
She's comfort when you get frustrated.
Yeah, keeps me calm when I have drive issues.
Okay.
Do you guys have specific questions about using this tool or anything related to Drive at this point? Yeah.